Hello everybody, good afternoon. I thought I'd do another stream, just probably a shorter one today. I say that, I always say it's short and then it never is. But I thought I'd do one just to see, generally what the market's doing, but there's not much change since my last stream, and I did quite a lot of detail in that one. But yeah, I just thought I'd have a look at what the market's doing, and if anyone has any questions, please shout, because I can cover whatever you want. I still need to get to the S to Z on the watch list, and I haven't done the S's yet, so I can't do any more on the alts, other than just look at some rough things, and like I say, any requests. Yeah, so I'll just have a quick look at what's going on. So we've got obviously this big dive on the dollar that we've had over the last few days, and that's, I understand, partly due to Germany having raised its allowing debt and pledged to put 500 billion into infrastructure or something along those lines. So the euro's done a massive drive upwards. On top of that, there's I think the tariff risks, and then there was ADP employment change data today, which was bad for the dollar. What else? And yeah, obviously the tariffs, and I think the tariffs, I don't really understand what the impact is, but I think there was something, I was reading news, growth risk from US tariffs, so I think, yeah, there's a possibility it's going to affect growth, but I'm not sure how those interrelate. But yeah, so anyway, this huge drop on the dollar. However, the dollar is, it was already in a big 3-month demand. It's now kind of coming to a 6-month level inside it, and then we've got the annual level coming up at around the 61 fibs. So I'm kind of interested to see the reaction in here, potentially on Friday. I don't know, we'll see what happens if it gets a bounce sooner, but Friday we have NFP, we've got a couple of gaps down here, although we've got gaps all the way down, but it's a decent sized gap here that still hasn't been filled. The yearly level, 61 fibs, so I kind of would like to see a bounce there on the dollar. Having said that, like, the euro is already in annual supply, so it hit that with that lower alert this morning. And then obviously again, an annual is a big zone, so it doesn't have to reject immediately, and it's now just approaching a weekly supply inside it, although obviously it can go higher if it still wants to. So again, just looking to see if this has some sort of decent reaction, but given we have an NFP on Friday, it's very possible that these are going to wait until then before they actually have a significant reaction. But we'll see. On the equities, so we had, again, big drops this week on all the US equities. However, we have had S&P has hit a monthly level, monthly zone. So we can see that, just scroll back over. So you can see that monthly here. I don't love the monthly, I don't like the way it's set out from the price. These ones are kind of less reliable. So I have got an alert set, if it does decide to drop to the next zone and take out this monthly on a swing failure or something before going back up. And it's come back for a second test today after having hit last night. And it's holding so far, but obviously still has some supply above. And then we just need to see where, is the, if this monthly does hold, and even if it holds on a swing failure going through to the lower zone, then I would expect, the short side to still be weak, supply is still going to be weak. However, I've got alerts set up there, that if we are going to get lower highs. Nasdaq is similar, so Nasdaq's also hit monthly demand now, so we had that quite nice confluence on that yesterday. Again, it's not a zone I absolutely love, there's a 2-month inside it, so I still feel that this could dip a little bit deeper if it wants to. And again, it could come a lot deeper into the 2-month demand if it wants, and still hold structure. And again, similarly, it's got new supply, it's now got weekly supply. I think this is the first time on these that we've actually had weekly supply in quite a long time. Or as clean, maybe not as clean on, it's cleaner maybe on the 2-week. It's not that clean on the Nasdaq, but maybe one of the other ones. But so far, when we hit a monthly demand, we just go straight back up through supply. So again, we just need to see what the reaction is when we test those highs. And Dow, similarly, Dow is probably less aligned with the crypto market, and I'm obviously covering this mainly because of its interaction with the crypto market. This had already hit the monthly demand there and gave longs before. It didn't quite take out the high and is now just retesting, so it's just a question of if it's going to hold this range holding this 5-day demand that was made off the back of the monthly demand. And off the lower high, it's less reliable or less likely it's going to hold this zone. And then failing that, I think I've got the next alert down here. I think that's 3-week and 2-week demand. But the next zone's down, and then we've got a 3-month demand, quite a lot lower. So these obviously can go lower if they want to. Yeah, that's 3 months down there. But at the moment, while they're back in demand, I don't want to be overly bearish. We haven't had breakdowns as yet, despite having had significant drops. Yeah, that's probably all I want to say on the indices. The others are really just following. Russell's actually probably Russell's been a little bit weaker, but then Russell also had only swing failed the this post-COVID high, whereas obviously all the others have broken out again. Russell hasn't, so it's possible with this swing failure of the COVID high on Russell that it could come down and take out the low from 2023. But it again does have 3 months. I think it's got a couple of 3 months demand and 2 months demands in there. So again, just need to see if this holds, and and this has now made 2 months supply. So it's a question of if this is going to get back through 2 months supply. But I was actually wondering if this could be a bit more of an indicator of the others being weaker before in advance, like a lead indicator. But I guess we'll see. But anyway, in the context of the crypto market, obviously crypto has been mostly following this. Or at least it follows on the drops and doesn't follow quite as well on the pumps, which is unfortunate. Doesn't seem to do its own thing a bit more there. So we had this, obviously the big Trump pump on at the weekend on Sunday, and we came back down to test this daily zone. And I had said on both this and Ether that I'd put alerts in for longs in here. And I had an alert here, and I'll show you the lower time frame in a moment. I had an alert here, and then also there's a couple of untested zones down here as well, just at the bottom before the up move, that I was looking at maybe we would come deeper inside. It didn't quite get to those zones. However, because it was coming off monthly supply, I also said this is weak demand, and while it can get a bounce, and in this case it did, it's not strong. And in the case of Ether, it didn't. It ended up just going through here. The confluence was just off. So now obviously we're retesting on this. So yeah, so as I've said, we've got a monthly supply. We rejected quite cleanly off that monthly supply. It's not broken demand yet, so this could form like a local downtrend, but until we break this up move, we're still in a bigger uptrend. So there's no need to like massively panic at the moment. However, that monthly supply for me, I would expect to take out the low of the February candle. It's just a question now of if it's going to go higher inside the monthly, or whether we've already seen the top from the weekend pump. So, and again, like in my last update, I said I'd had this alert for the weekly supply already in there, and the alert went, but the price didn't quite get to that zone. So that's on my next zone of interest for the weekly supply. And then also failing that, there's a 2-day a little bit higher that wasn't quite tested previously. So those zones can still get tested, and we can still hold the monthly before potentially getting a bigger drop. I'm getting a bit of an error on my chat, on my video. So let me just check things. Saying I'm not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming, which is a bit of a risk because the sound has very much messed up before when that's been the case. I'm not sure how to test it at this point. Let me just run a quick optimization and see if I can reduce some of my usage. Okay, that appears to have improved the situation slightly. So hopefully this stream is okay. Yeah, what else? So yeah, as I said, I'm just waiting to see if this monthly gets a retest, maybe closer to the 61 fib, and then potentially look for another short if we take out the high from Sunday. We did made the Monday low, and then we did take that out yesterday. So it is possible on the Monday Tuesday trade that when you take out one end of the Monday, that the price then for the remainder of the week goes up to take out the other side. So it is possible it goes up, but I'm not adding any like new entries on this at the moment because I'm just not comfortable with this. You know, like I say, this I'm tempted to have a short on this 4 hour, but then again, I feel like with that Monday Tuesday trade, like it could, and the fact it could just come and take out Sunday's high before dropping. And then similarly here again, do I want an alert on this 4 hour demand at the bottom here? Not really. I think, I mean, overall the structure, I mean, basically it's in a triangle, which is my indecision. So it's kind of waiting for the triangle to resolve one way or the other. Yeah, so I guess we'll see. I mean, there's certainly scalps you can have in here if you want to, but just from a bigger picture perspective, I'm not overly comfortable with that at the moment. Let me just go to my low time frame chart. So, light a cigarette at the same time. So yeah, like I say, Bitcoin on the low time frame. That was the long entry. These are the two long entries that I had, like more closer to the base of the up move. And then I think there was a couple of untested or 15-minute demands and the naked point of control in there. So I think it was worth watching if it came a bit deeper. But again, yeah, and then now we've got the 4 hour supply there and 4 hour demand there. So there's no reason, you know, you can't look for a short there if it does come into that area and look for a long here if it does come into that area. I think the other thing I was looking at just before as well, which is worth commenting on, is the walls. And I said in my last video that Coinbase has a lot of stacked walls just from 70 to 80k. And obviously we kind of tapped down into those on the drop. Sorry, no, the drop since then hasn't hit them. So, and again, that lower zone lines up quite nicely with the 80k wall, and we also have an 80k wall on Binance. Just put my mouse circle on so you can see. So yeah, Binance, we've got the 80k wall here, and Coinbase have got the 80k wall, and those line up quite nicely with this 80k area to potentially look for a long entry. But again, do note, you know, this is daily demand, but it's a week demand. We are coming off monthly supply, so you know there is that fairly major disclaimer, and you know there is still a very distinct possibility this is the part of the larger reversal now, having got a monthly supply at the highs. Ether. Speed of my computer is outstanding. Okay, so Ether is similar to a lot of the alts, and again, this is my challenge. So let me just show you. I mean, it's a fairly ugly type structure anyway. So Ether again, I had that potential long entry in on daily demand. I think, did this have a daily as well? I think it maybe, yeah, it did have a daily because it's now flipped it. So I had an entry on, I think I had a 12 hour demand on Ether. So I did have that entry, it did run through it, and it's run down into the weekly zone. But again, I wanted this a bit lower, like it just missed my alert, but regardless, I wanted it down in 3 months demand, and obviously that stretches significantly lower. But it's a fairly nice bounce, I guess, on the 2K. I think it was 1990 at the 2K level. The problem is now it's flipped this daily supply, and that was also my reticence about looking for longs on Bitcoin, because obviously the two typically do the same things. It's a big daily supply, it can go much higher inside it, but at the moment it's still hovering around at the base. And this, as I said in my last video, is coming off 2 months supply, so that was the short entry that we had on Sunday. So again, if it's coming off 2 months supply, there is a possibility it can do a significantly bigger move than what it's done so far. Although arguably it has also played out the 2 month supply by the swing fail of the low, of the previous low. So again, that's the challenge there. Let me go back to the bigger chart, so you can see that tap there to monthly level, but also the 2-month supply level there. So yeah, I would have liked this to have come a bit lower, so it's just again a little bit awkward. And now has this big daily supply above. So I want to just see a bit more on this before I make more judgment. Rather annoyingly as well, because of that dip a little bit deeper, like I had a whole host of reasons why I wanted to look at these two levels, the red ones in the middle, as possible short entries, although there are a multitude, I've said before, there are a multitude of possible short entries because Ether is not testing any of the levels on the way down. But unfortunately now, because of the drop deeper, the fibs are now all off. So I might even have to rethink those again. Ether does like the 61 fibs, so I need to sort of think about where is most appropriate to look for shorts. Let me just see where this... So from the whole larger fib, from the whole drop, is slightly lower, or it's basically between the question mark and the cross slap bang in the middle. So it's still, I mean, I guess it's still an area rather than, they're still zones rather than specific levels. But that's the larger fib, and then the fib of the last drop that I liked, again now is lower, so that's just taking out that, we just take out that daily supply, and then the fib of the more recent, but again, like I need to rethink the fibs and rethink what the waves are doing. And then the last drop, well actually the most recent drop now we've had is from here, but I think we already had that test. So we already had a bounce and a test, yeah. It's a bit challenging. I need to have a think through that again. I still like those levels from a supply perspective. Yeah, the fibs are now not as pretty as I would like. But yeah, so Ether, I'd still like that lower 3-month demand if it gets given to me. We're still in a daily supply, so yeah, just be conscious of that if you're looking to long this. I think it does have the new 4-hour demand like Bitcoin does. Go back to the Ether low time frame chart. Yeah, so it has a 4-hour demand that it's holding at current price, and it's also got another 4-hour lower. So I was considering the prospect of putting a long entry on that, but again, I don't want to do that when it's right under this daily supply. So I'd rather see a bit more of this first. And yeah, I might just need a couple more days. So we also have, I think, Trump speaking on Friday, or is that the 7th? Yeah, I think that's Friday. And again, that might cause havoc in the market. So I'll wait for a bit more of that first. I don't think there's anything else on the data. Yeah, so I was looking at the liquidation. So overall, there's liquidations under yesterday, or was that today's low or yesterday's? Under yesterday's low, and above today's high. So not overly surprising there. But Binance has a lot less. Binance, I think, has more of the liquidations are above the Sunday high on 96k. Let me just see. I'm just checking my stream again. Getting another error on it again. We'll run that optimization one more time. I think it's definitely time for a new computer. Or at least to clean up my computer a bit more. I don't know, I contacted the computer people and they gave me a whole host of things to do, and I've done all of them and it's basically made 0 improvements. So, but I don't like this particular, some of the errors I can get away with, but this particular error tends to make the sound go extremely dodgy and completely completely dissociate from the video. So that makes me slightly nervous. Let me just pause it a second and go on to the blank screen and then come back to it and see if that improves it. I will be back in a moment. we'll try this again. Even my mouse circle isn't working very well, so I'm not following the mouse anymore. It's going to be one of those computer days. This also happens in Portugal when it rains, and it's raining quite heavily today, so it might also be a combination of my computer and the computer and the internet coupled. Anyway, yeah, so Binance, the walls are above 95k, and yeah, there's just in general very little leverage trading going on. Scared to open new windows now, so I was looking at the coinalized data in the CBDs. So the Coinbase CBD is just dropping, and we're having a lot of ETF selling still going on today, or it's come back in today, in fact, but then on the flip side, we also have CBD divergence. So we've got price going up, and the CBD on Coinbase at least going down, and even on Binance it was going down, although it's popped up again now in the last hour or so, which basically signifies, or potentially signifies, exhaustion. Lost my mouse again. This computer is extremely odd, I have to say. So it signifies exhaustion. So i.e. what we're getting is a lot of selling, but they're selling into their maker selling, so market selling into limit bids. Oh, there it's back. And that's what it signifies when the CBDs are dropping, but the price is going up. Binance now, like I say, is getting a bit of buying in, so that's more the Coinbase situation. And futures is just very, very flat. It's very flat on OI, and it's very flat. I mean, if I zoom in, it looks a bit more dramatic, but overall it's quite flat across the board. We haven't had much action since that drop since Sunday, which obviously liquidated quite a lot of longs. So yeah, there's not much more I can say on that. From an ETF perspective, go to the ETF data. So you can see here, this is all the transfers, and it's looking like Fidelity's selling a fair amount today, and in fact across the board. Bitwise has got some selling in there, Invesco's got some selling, and the only thing we actually haven't had today for a change is Grayscale selling. We have had predominantly Grayscale selling once a day at least for the last week or two, and today they haven't. So the aggregated data, which hopefully will open, is basically showing, so we had a lot of selling from BlackRock and a lot of selling from everybody over last week. Then on Friday we had some buying coming in, but unfortunately it hasn't been followed up. So yesterday again went into a reasonable amount of selling, nowhere near the quantity that we've had in the preceding weeks, but we've still had, some of the other ETFs are popping up into the selling as of yesterday, and that could just be because equities is dropping. But yeah, so that's pretty much it on Bitcoin. There's not much to say other than I've just got to wait for things to resolve. Either I want to wait, so when we're in a range like this, I'd rather wait for an extreme of the range. So yes, you can possibly look for a short on that 4-hour supply, long on this 4-hour demand, but my preference would be to wait for this low to be taken out from yesterday, ideally into here and all the lower zones, or into this weekly supply that was just missed on Sunday, or the 2-day above that, and taking out some more of these stops from the consolidation above. And then we'll just see on Friday what Trump comes out with, and if that is going to pump the price again. And also NFP, so I don't know if NFP is going to have much of an impact on this, but yeah, we just need to be quite careful for the next couple of days, I think. Getting that error yet again on my video. On the majors, really don't like this error. I don't have anything else I can close either, which is kind of somewhat irritating. I close absolutely everything I possibly can to do this, and I still get the same errors. And it's quite hard when I haven't got anybody specifically watching or talking to me, so I can ask what the quality is like. What else? If anyone, I can see there's a couple of people watching, so if there's anyone watching, please feel free to tell me if the quality is horrendous, and then I will, just quit for today while it's raining here. Just hide some of these. So BCH obviously is the big mover. So so we had Ripple, ADA, and Sol were the three that Trump mentioned, and the three that had the biggest pumps. The others all bounced a bit, but mostly just rejected supply. Outside of that, BCH is I think the only one of the majors, the old and new majors, that has pumped since then. I did say here, I was a bit guilty, I think, of being like really wanting it to go to the monthly demand there, and or to take some of the lower trend line stops out, and it did just stop hunt this low, so it's unsurprising really it's broken out. I was watching it yesterday looking for an entry, but I didn't love this 12-hour demand in here, and I think I was looking at a bit earlier in the day, and I wanted the bounce at this point in time, and it didn't get it. Still getting this video error. I'm going to go on the be right back for a second and see if it resolves itself again. Okay, this isn't ideal, and because I don't know if it's actually operating correctly, and also because this was a bit of a random stream with not a great deal more to say, I think I might stop this stream and just record a short video on the other things that I wanted to cover, and then just upload that video later. So yeah, as I said at the start of the stream, if you do watch this, if you have any requests, please throw them out there, or throw them into Telegram, and then I can at least cover that while I'm doing the video. But it saves me talking needlessly here, potentially, if it's not working properly. And yeah, so probably not the most useful stream in the world, but like I said, there's not much more to say, and I just wanted to make sure I'm kind of continually producing content, even if the content is indecisive, because indecisive is also a thing in trading. So yeah, I will upload that video later, and have a good afternoon.